All right, sorry about that. All's working now. I just need to make sure your voice is getting to the stream, so go ahead and chat for a second.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
All right, let me put that in mix down mode. All right, I got a couple articles about different parts of the world.
Dope. Awesome. Yeah, and we're about to hit up basically we have like 5 or 6 reports that you want to be paying attention to this week. GDP, non-farm employment, right? That's important. That's going to be today. Non-farm is in 30 minutes. So we're going to go over some parts in the market here. That's going to be pretty clear. Look, expect S&P 500, if it's good, to shoot up. If it's bad, basically, if non-farm employment is high, then that means that there's more jobs coming on. It's pretty much in a nutshell. Then you have PMI.
So non-farm. Does the farm employment really change that much?
Non-farm.
No, I know, but does adding farm in there make a big difference?
Yeah, because it's seasonal. With the farm, it's seasonal, so you're talking to be an additional 5% during that time period. That's why they have non-farm in there.
Good morning, everybody. Get this banner off the screen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to DYOR Live. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking in the digital media universe. The man in the box next to me is Pedro and Garcia, my co-host of this great show. Today is, let's check again, April 30th, 2025. And we're doing a little different show this morning. I call it the Bitcoin Bell. That's right, Pedro and I are coming to you in the morning to set out some market conditions. What's going on? What happened overnight? News that's affecting you in the crypto market. Pedro, what's happening?
Hey, good morning. How you doing, buddy? You doing well?
Good, man. These early mornings. As you know, I've been on vacation for a little bit, and the wife and I were at a condo on the beach for a little bit with her parents. Now I'm over at my parents' house, just down the road. While they're off traveling or house sitting, and you get in a routine of getting up early. And I'm not usually a morning person, trust me. But all of a sudden, you're on vacation. You get, you're like it's like 9 o'clock and you're like, I'm tired, let's go to bed. And so you're up. And here I am, ladies and gentlemen. And here I am.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes. So let's jump right in. This is going to be a short show here, right? For about 30 minutes. So we gotta pack everything in here real quick so that you guys kind of give a heads up. So these shows are going to basically be market update and or market forecast, kind of see what's going on before the day happens. So right now we're watching Bitcoin really kind of push up here. It's got a decent amount of volume before the open is happening. What's up, Mr. Herlihy? It's good to see you. How you doing, Mr. Herlihy? How you doing?
I think that viewer's gonna like the stream.
Oh yeah. All right, boom. I probably should hit the like too, so that we can get it going. All right, so let's jump right in here.
Long delay today between us and the live stream.
Yeah, yesterday was the same way. It was probably about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, so I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and I'm not saying I'm not. This big rally off of this 75 to 73,000. A lot of people said this was the bottom here, where we're going to see it go up, and that's what we are seeing. We're seeing positions being built at these levels. We are watching the 89 and 50 starting to cross here. This is one of my things that I use to say that we're probably going to go up, and we are seeing it. So I have to pay attention to this, to saying this looks like my idea of it really going down to these lower levels could be wrong, but it all indicates on two things: the crossing here of the 89, which is that blue line right here, and the 50 period moving average sitting at this level here. We're watching this because if this really starts to come in, and when this crosses, when I see the 50, if the 50 and 89 cross, then this is going to be a huge indication for me as a long-term. I need to start going long. I'm looking to take my positions long on the day trading. So right now we're coming close to this, and we're going to see what happens here. But until it happens, I can't go long. I can't have a bias to saying, hey, we're moving up above this. Two things that I'm noticing right now over the last few days is we're watching us put a position in right here at these levels. And more important, right here at this level here will act as some form of resistance, support, but there isn't really much support at these levels here.
What time frame is that? Is that the daily?
This is the daily, right? So again, we're looking at the pre-market here. So this area here for me isn't acting as any form of real support. So if we come down to it, expect it to kind of falter and then come down to this lower level here, which is sitting around that 88,000 area. If we do falter below the 8 period moving average on the daily. Now let's look at some of the economic reports that we're going to be seeing coming out. Now remember, who's involved in the crypto game now? Banksters. And so they've actually tied us to a lot of the traditional charts like S&P 500, NQ. We've talked about a lot of the correlation between NQ as it was going down. There was a 3-to-1 ratio of connection. Since we've started to move up and Bitcoin started showing strength here, we started seeing it decouple and now start to do its kind of own thing. But still, it's still, when I start to see money inflow and outflow, it's in the same correlation of what we're seeing with the institutions and with banks getting involved. So let's check out the news that are coming up this week for you guys to be mindful of, okay? So we have the ADP non-farm employment. It's just literally coming out in 30 minutes. So expect volume to come in into the market when this happens, okay? So this is going to be probably around like 8:15. Expect this to kind of see a market move. That's pre-market move. So if you're in on a short-term pre-market trade, be mindful of this. It's really important because you'll see it turn around flip.
Pedro, give everyone a quick background, like the 5-second background on what the non-farm payroll means to everybody.
Okay, so basically it's a gauge of unemployment. and it basically excludes everybody in the farming industry, non-farm payroll.
And I didn't know this
payroll,
before the show. I asked
employment.
Pedro about this, and why does the farm thing matter? Can the farming industry be that big people-wise? Well, yeah, it is, and it used to be a large part of our country.
Huge.
It used to be
Huge.
half our country's employment, and so, but it's shrunk dramatically with
industrialization,
that type of stuff, right? But they still call it that, and there's still a lot of seasonal workers in the farm industry.
A lot. The hiring and. Anyways, so you be paying attention to that, and it's because it's a short show.
Spider.
I'm going.
Sorry, put a spider on my leg.
That's all right. All right. So GDP is also coming out in 43 minutes. So be ready for that. Mark that in your calendar. That's going to be, I believe, at 9 o'clock. No, 8:30. Sorry. So it's going to be at 8:30. Another one that's going to be popping right off. Then you're going to have core PCE or PCI. I don't know. CPI. I don't know why did I look at PC? I was like, wait, what? It's going to be CPI, which is the core price index, basically letting us know what's going on with inflation and seeing what's up. So this week is a really big week for reports, what's actually happening. And this is about once a month. It's typically at the end of the month. And that's why we're doing this right now, because it's the 30th. This week is always a big week at the month. We're going to check out the monthly chart here in a second. Then you also have at 9:45, you have the Chicago PMI. And then if you trade crude oil, today's inventory day. So be ready for that at 10:30 as it comes off. CPI. And then tomorrow is going to be a major holiday for a lot of countries out there. Oh. So expect a lot of people to come. You can see Thursday being a major holiday. But for America, it is Make Money Day. So you have the initial jobless claims coming out tomorrow at 8:30. This is set to the West Coast time for me. So you can see here it's 5:30, but it's actually 8:30 Eastern Standard Time or 5:30 West Coast time. Then you can see here global manufacturing PMI. Again, this is going to be the at 9:45. So we want to be paying attention. Today's reports and also the isms, manufacturing coming out as well at 10 o'clock. So these little things are going to be really important to be paying attention to, simply because today we'll set up for tomorrow. And so we got a lot of stuff going on. And then you have Thursday, which is going to be, some stuff's going to be moving it too. You have unemployment rate, which is also going to happen. So we've got a lot of stuff kind of cramped in the last few days of this month. So be ready for a pretty explosive a lot of turnarounds. So boom. With that said, let's check out what we expect Bitcoin to do here for the afternoon or coming into the open. We're watching it rally up right now into yesterday's open. You can see right here at this period. Let's go into our chart here. So you can see right here, we see, not Sunday, Tuesday, here you go. So we saw the market open up here yesterday, and we saw it go up. And so with this going up, what's the first thing I always say? If market go up first, what do we expect?
Market go down.
Market go down, exactly. So let's actually, that's going to be 1 o'clock, 13, 14, 15, so it'll be 15. So we saw the market come down first thing, shoot up. We're watching it go up right now before the market is happening with a lot of these core reports. So, or financial reports. So as it's happening, I'm expecting us to come down here. I have a few spots that I'm definitely looking at. One being this area right here of supply. And I will mark this here as I need to get a chart here that does not. If we're going to start doing this, I need to create another new chart here.
Sorry there, Pedro. I forgot to get the comment section up and running.
That explains why. All right, guys. So you can see right here that I like this area. Now, again, this is a intraday time frame. Okay, so my timing here is a little bit different. There we go. All right, so this area right here is a potential area that I'm definitely looking to maybe go short. But until I start to see weakness, I'm still going long. So let's look at where we're seeing the trends coming in on. We have the 5 and 15-minute chart kind of pushing up here. So be paying attention to that here as we're moving. Oh, man, I'm itching right here. I don't know why. I got a little dandruff. It's snowing over here.
Wash your pillowcases, my friend.
Oh, that's probably what it is, yeah. It was like 3 minutes. So you can see right here, we're expecting this market to continue up until we hit these levels here. But ultimately, what I'm really looking at is just a market that is going sideways is what we're seeing here. So from this moment on, we've either got to break up to the upside or to the downside, and the daily chart is really kind of speaking to us more than anything. As you can see that it's kind of weakening as we're pushing up. You can see that volume is kind of coming down. So that's why I'm expecting us to come down until we go up. And like I said, I like this area of that 88,000, and roughly, at least for the intraday, I'm looking at that 92,000 area for it to come down, then to go up. All right, guys. So that's in a nutshell for Bitcoin right now. Tom, let me go ahead and give it to you. Are you all right? You got everything okay?
Yeah, I just don't have the comment set up right, but that's all right. We're not going to worry about that
All right,
today.
well, then it's okay.
There's Pedro. There's a lot of market indicators. Oh, you know what? Before I get into some of the news going on, what does the stock market look like for an open today? The NQ or S&P, something like that.
Yeah, I love it. Let's check out. Again, this is not financial advice. This is all just basically what I'm looking at. But we have the ES. ES is coming down for the day. You can see how it's kind of parroting, or Bitcoin is kind of parroting the S&P 500. You saw it come down, and we saw it come up. Basically, once Besant saw that the market was kind of going crazy. I know, right? I had to sit there. I had like, it's not Besant, it's Besant. Like literally have it right here, dude. I'd like say, like I've marked out the E. Anyways, when you look at what we're seeing here with the S&P 500, S&P 500 is coming up to that 50-period moving average, which typically acts as a pretty good resistance level. So when that happens, we want to sit there and gauge, are we moving? This is also in a gap area. So we have a gap area right here. You can see this is a higher time frame, but I'm just going to point this out right here. This is a gap area, which typically acts as a resistant area instead of a support. Or it can act also as support if we have like right down here, you can see I have another blue area here, which acts as support. So this area could act as resistance. Expect this thing to push down, but right now we're just kind of just chilling overnight. It's just consolidating, waiting for the information. We saw the same thing happen yesterday where it just kind of consolidated a little, just kind of went sideways. So that's why I'm looking at the S&P 500. Now let's check out the Nasdaq, because we know that the Nasdaq or Bitcoin kind of follows it. So you can see here, I'm gonna switch here from Nasdaq as well. So this is the Nasdaq, which looks similar to the S&P 500. And so you can see here, let's check out Bitcoin here on the daily. You can see how it's fairly similar, right? They're kind of all like cousins. You're right. You can see how they're very similar looking, right? So as a chart. So you can see how it kind of works in conjunction here. So if we start to see a major sell-off with the NASDAQ, then you're going to see it really kind of sell off along with it. So let's check it out here real quick. NASDAQ, again, is really already tapping that 50-period moving average. And I do expect to see some form of resistance level. Now, we haven't fully hit it yet on that 50-period moving average on the NASDAQ, but I do expect us to see some resistance coming into the Well, just into this whole entire situation that we're being very bullish. There should be, I mean, because that's an institutional moving average, and typically we do see from a day trading standpoint resistance and or support on that particular moving average. So that's why I'm looking at it. Also on the CME futures, the current system here also has it sitting in the same place. Sometimes you have the continuous and the continuous. Come on, boys, don't get cracky on me now. Forgive me, guys. Give me 1 second.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Pedro's.
So much, man. I haven't talked this much in the morning in literally years. Normally it's just me, and I don't talk much. My voice kind of gets warmed up. What was I gonna say? Oh, yes. So on the CME, not agriculture, the CME futures for the NASDAQ. Let me pull up the current contract here. We're going to go to, where's the indices, energies, interest rates, world indices. There we go. And then, why aren't you giving, oh, that's why. Boom. So here we go. We come right here. And then where is CM contract? Boom. Is it June? Yeah. So this is the June contract here on the CME. So you can see here that the 50-period moving average is sitting about right above us here. So again, we have the same type of situation on the current contract. So you can be paying attention to that. Yeah, that's in a nutshell for this. And we could see some stuff going on with the bonds, along with what's going on with the dollar. But that we'll do that tomorrow. But I kind of want to get into the news because I think the news will overshadow a lot of what's happening in the technical stuff. So I want to go ahead and give it to you, my friend.
Pedro, one of the things going on this week, it's big in the crypto industry, is the Token 2049 conference in Dubai right now. And many of the industry, many of the people of the industry are there. And it's a big industry gathering event. One of which I tried to find a sponsor to pay for us to go, but no success in that. But next time there will be success in that. Yep. And the big groups, the big coins all go there. All their foundations go there. The big market makers go there. All the representatives from all the exchanges go. A lot of the big traders go, and obviously lots of regular people. Retail investors go because it's interesting, get to meet people in the industry. As you well know, those shows are great for networking and meeting people. Now, I noticed something today. If you can bring up the Bitcoin chart. Let's see. Bitcoin chart. Okay, so notice the past couple of days, we've been just consolidating. Volume hasn't been great. There hasn't been a lot of big moves in it. I've been noticing that during these major trade shows, and the same thing happened at Nashville, Bitcoin Nashville last year, is that in the week of the trade show, the major trade shows, it was just a big idiot box to trade, not a lot going on. I'm thinking a lot of the market makers are sitting by the sidelines, or the boss is in Dubai right now, and they're not trading as much every day. I think it seems to follow a pattern. I'm going to do a little back testing to go back and see about other major trade shows, and to see if we can predict that during these major trade shows, since so many people are in one place, they're focused on networking and not doing their normal job, if we see volume drop and fewer moves. Because I remember very clearly having a position on just a little bit, and I have one on right now. It's almost the same situation. We pumped, and then we flagged out here and consolidated for a few days, all during the trade show. And everybody was just sitting there, is this thing going to go or not? And then when the trade show ended and everyone gets back to it, all of a sudden the volume returns and it all of a sudden goes up or down more normally, with larger moves on the open, larger thing. And also the past week, we've seen, if I remember what you told me, we've seen Bitcoin not trade exactly with the NASDAQ and S&P the past couple of days. Is that a correct statement? I mean, generally yes, but not at, you're on mute. But yes, not as much as the past.
Right. So yeah. So it is been let's you can see right here what's going on. This is Bitcoin here.
Yep.
So now let's go into the NASDAQ here. So actually, you know what? I'll just do this here real quick. Boom. So you can sit there and see. Come on. There you are. Boom. We're just going to do it quick so you guys can see this. You can see the volume step in. Boom. So this is Bitcoin here. Come on, computer. You can do it. There you go.
That's what I say to my computer every day.
I'm so proud of you. Good job, baby. Good job. All right. Boom. Now let's check out the NASI here real quick. You can see here how it's pretty similar to it. Again, it's like cousins, right? Oh, look at that. I should have just... Now I'm messing it up. All right, let's try this again.
Is that the daily chart there? Okay, there's the daily chart for that.
Yeah, so this is the daily chart.
And you see that the big rise up about a week ago, and then the past 7 days has kind of just consolidated. Now go back to the NASDAQ.
Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to do that here quick. Come on.
Pedro's trying to get fancy by creating a side-by-side graphic here.
Yeah, there we go. Boom. Okay, now let's go ahead. Okay, great job. Boom. That's that. And then we're gonna do side-by-side graphic here so you guys can sit there and see this here. So the NASDAQ is sitting about right here. All right, so you can see here that you kind of have this double bottom right here, or this one that had put the low in right here and then came up and came down and pushed up. This is the NASDAQ. You can see how we were coming down similar with Bitcoin, right? This right here is this right here, okay? So you can see how it came down, boom, this is the NASDAQ. We saw it coming down, boom. We saw this, boom. But this is this double bounce. This has a higher high or higher low, whereas this had a lower low. This is why I was still very, very bearish on this market, because this right here, this lower low is important, especially that it was lower low than this. Whereas here on the NASDAQ, we had a higher low. So now we're coming up here. This is why I'm still kind of very bearish on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin really hasn't put in a lower or a higher low. So it's hard for me. But again, right, that's why that's all you need to do is like really just compare and contrast, and you're sitting going, oh, I get it now, right? But I can't ignore, like I've said before, the 50 and the 89. Okay, that 50 and 89, that 50-100 moving average. The reason I use the 89 simply because it's kind of quicker, but sometimes it doesn't. So you know, it's not clear cut. Trading is not clear cut. It's a story of probabilities that give you an indication of which way the market typically wants to go, and through probability of the ability to be able to kind of look at the
probability of the ability. That's another T-shirt saying.
Probability of the ability. What did I say? It's a probability of the ability that it's going to move in a direction. That's really what it is.
All right, let's. I was just trying to make a point that this trade show is a big one in the world. It's one of the top probably 3 or 4 trade shows in the world for the crypto industry, with the similar one in Singapore, obviously Bitcoin conference every year, in the blockchain futurist conference and consensus. Consensus is going on this week. May 15th, 16th, and 17th in Toronto, which would have been a good one for us to cover. But my son is graduating from college that day, and when your son graduates as a rocket scientist, you go to it. But volume is just down a little bit in Bitcoin. You don't see the big market moves, and it's just my opinion from looking at it. Like I said, I'm going to go back and look at some things on other days of these shows and to see if the market does the similar pattern. Right before the show, it pumps a little bit, then it consolidates without any real direction. And then once the show is over, when everyone goes back to work, then the market the Bitcoin market starts doing what it's supposed to. Anyway, it's always something to keep track of. But there's a couple other things going on around the world, Pedro, that affect the industry. Maybe not for the morning's open, but for the day, for the week, and a couple of them more long-term, but just things to keep an eye out. First of all, closer to home is the Canadian election, which happened 2 days ago, and was an absolute disaster for the challengers, which were the Conservatives. In a strange twist of fate, they got more seats than they ever have before. They got more votes than they ever have before, but they still lost. It's kind of they still lost. And not only that, but the guy challenging the leader, the current prime minister, he lost his own seat. Now, why is this relevant for crypto? This is not the political discussion that we go into. The guys that lost were very pro-crypto in Canada. The guys in the incumbents are very anti-crypto because they had to take, I don't mean personally, a lot of the current government in Canada personally have disclosed that they own crypto, but they have publicly taken positions that the other guy that lost was evil, and all their grandparents, everybody would have lost money if they had invested in Bitcoin, and it was a big political thing. So you're not going to see any big crypto regulations come out of Canada or any way to ease regulation or make it more clear on what people are allowed to do and what people are not allowed to do. And so don't look for anything bullish coming out of Canada, you Canuckistanis. On the other hand, Pedro, all the way across the pond, in the UK, one of these days I'll have graphics for this global news thing. You see, watch that, look at that. Boop.
Saw that.
In the UK's taken the opposite turn. If you've paid attention to the United Kingdom market, it's been all over the place. They've ban crypto. Oh no, crypto is good. Oh my God, terrorists use crypto, so everyone has to report everything, and the police can come in and check all your crypto at any time. And then to wait a minute, invasion of privacy. They've been up and down in the news, and you can't keep track of it. Good news on the UK front. They've drafted some new cybersecurity cryptocurrency legislation aimed at enhancing investor confidence by giving a level playing field to everybody. They're kind of taking cues from the U.S., and the U.S. said, we've made a mistake the past couple of years. We're going to put out some good crypto regulation for everybody. And one of the reasons why it's important, because it could actually drive a lot of institutional firms that are based in London to get into the market. Because right now they're kind of either staying out of the market or doing it through smaller subsidiaries around the world. But even for the companies that are headquartered and are London-based companies, it's been difficult for them to be in and out, to get into the crypto markets and invest in companies like miners and things like that, because it has a crypto exposure. So they're gonna ease those regulations. Hopefully, if it gets through the parliament over there, and do pretty well. Another thing over there which is important. That there is a new euro stablecoin coming out, which is good. It's a good thing for two reasons. One, you need challengers to the U.S. dollar stablecoins. You want competition in every market. You can't just say we're the only one. You got to say we're the best, and we're the best because we've done better and we innovate better. I know they realize there's not a lot of innovation in cryptocurrency stablecoins. I mean, there's people trying to do algorithmic ones. They have to put up so much money, those fail. And there's people that put up one for one. The problem with European stablecoins is that they haven't had anything to back it. And the MiCA requirement that requires you to keep whatever money you do back it with in European banks, thus just ending up with bank deposits again. And if a bank fails, the stablecoin fails as well. They're starting to work around some alternatives to having that. they are working on, where is it on my screen? Oh, having euro-based pairs on the exchanges, so everything isn't USDT, which is good. It gives, Pedro, it gives liquid markets more pairs to arbitrage between. And one of the things that will happen is if you can have a Bitcoin to euro market that's just as liquid as the Bitcoin to Tether market, you'll have a much better arbitrage market with the liquidity. And it'll also affect the Forex markets because people will be able to trade the currency exposure through the cryptocurrency pairs, which is way less expensive than foreign exchange, and faster and settles faster and all that type of stuff. So that's a good thing. That's very bullish. Now, all the way across the other side of the ocean, we have ding, 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 China. The South China Morning Post reported China's central bank is exploring ways to integrate its digital yuan with global crypto markets. So as Europe is saying, all right, or companies in Europe are saying, we're going to have a stable coin based on the euro, China is like, we want to get in the game and we want trading pairs in the yuan as well. It's going to be interesting because any hint of China loosening crypto restrictions is bullish for the market. Their economy is arguably the same size as the United States economy right now. It's surpassed that of Europe. The people there have money. And if there's restrictions on that money going out in the crypto market, it inhibits that. However, they still need to get by the concept that the Chinese people are only allowed to export so much foreign currency at a time. And if they put money into cryptocurrency, does the Chinese government consider that to be exporting money and getting around their foreign exchange laws? We'll see it. How it plays out, because if China allows for trading in pairs of the yuan, it'll better stabilize the cryptocurrency markets in China. Now we can't another populous nation, Pedro. We cannot ignore India. India, the people. There's so many Indian people from India. There's so many people in that pointed state that are already in crypto, but the government has been trying to put their thumb down on it because it hasn't been so easy for them to control. And the Indian government traditionally has been a bureaucracy. All you guys watching know this, a bureaucracy-based government. The British taught them very well. And to do anything, to get bank accounts, you need 93 different stamps from 65 different organizations. You got to get this and got to get that. It's very difficult when you eliminate all those bureaucracies by just trading crypto and paying people in crypto. It eliminates all that. So people have been wary of it, have tried to get rid of crypto. It's failed dramatically. And also it's helping with corruption because an Indian government has been based on, I don't mean huge bribes and you got to have $1 million. There's a culture of, just little bribes. Well, you want that stamp? Well, I want lunch, so. But they're coming out that saying the Reserve Bank of India's governor called for a ban on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But let's use XRP instead. You can't pay anyone in Bitcoin or Ethereum, but you can in XRP. So where do you think the money is coming from there? Hello, Ripple. That's why you know that eventually the Ripple coin is going, or the XRP coin is going to go down because they're going to sell XRP, and it's indicative, or sell XRP to fund their operations and to pay lobbyists to do things like I'm looking at here. India is proposing a deal to implement Ripple's technology. While unverified, this sparked significant buzz with the XRP traders and the Indian market. I watched it on X the past few days. People going crazy. Oh my God, the Indian market is going to start using the Ripple ledger. It was a big deal in the social media. But if India does pick one technology over another, you got to look to be long in that. That's for sure. With up to 500 million crypto users in it. There's also stuff going on in the opposite in Australia. Bearish news out of Australia. They're wanting to regulate cryptocurrency more and restrict use of it. they're falling into the everything's a terrorist and everyone's money laundering trap. Again, down there, it's a news cycle with the current government down there. If any of you are Australian and want to drop some notes about that, let us know. I don't follow that market a lot. And lastly, we can't skip South America, Pedro. El Salvador is going at it with the IMF. Last year, El Salvador famously said, we're going to put out a cash-rich budget, cash-plus budget without debt, and then we're going to use Bitcoin. And then they went to the IMF and said, we need to borrow $1 billion. And you're on mute, just so you know. But the IMF came back and said, fine, we'll give you $1 billion, but you got to drop this whole Bitcoin crap. And El Salvador said no. Actually, what they did was they said, okay, we'll work around it.
Maybe.
So they got the money from the IMF, and then they're saying,
and then give them the finger. Right,
we're still going to do this Bitcoin thing. And so anyway, they're starting to grant crypto platforms actual asset light or trading licenses to be exchanges based in there in El Salvador. Why it's relevant to everybody? El Salvador, this tiny little country, has been driving investor sentiment and saying, look, we can do this. And they've been looking to El Salvador to fail. Other countries have been saying, we're going to watch them fail first. And then either just skip the whole thing, or they'll learn lessons from El Salvador and do it better the second time. But that's not happening. What's happening is that El Salvador is kicking butt. And especially with the price of Bitcoin going up.
They're killing it.
Yeah, they're doing really well. So we've got regular clarity in markets, whether it's good for the investor or not, on the news lately.
Can I ask a quick question in regards to that? South America, how is Malay interacting with Bukele in relationship to
good. The news, in fact, there hasn't been any news out of any significant news in the past week or so, but in the past month, they've actually met. President Milei of Argentina and Bukele of El Salvador got together, put their minds together and said, how can we do this? Or Milei said, how can I do this? But the problem is that Milei got derailed in his crypto efforts by a scandal. I don't know what he was thinking, but he promoted a meme coin. I think he was thinking he was like Donald Trump. Trump did it before he was president. Milei did it while he was president. And I don't know exactly what happened, but it got rug pulled. So he's been quiet. Milei's been very quiet on the crypto front. However, one of the things I was reading about Bukele is that he wants access to Argentina's markets. Argentina has 40 million people as a population or something like that. You know what? I don't know. I just guessed on that. And El Salvador has 4 million people. Not many at all. And so I believe that they're also talking about having a common crypto market, meaning that similar rules. And if you have a license in one country, it'll work in this country. And if you have a license in that country, it'll work in that country. I think they're working towards that, and that'd be very bullish for South America. And it would be just bonkers bonus for El Salvador having a regulatory-free access to Argentina's population. So anyway, so in the news lately, regulatory clarity, either bullish or bearish for depending on which country you're in. Adoption growth is going crazy. India could possibly get an official system to make payments based on a coin or not. Whether that happens or not doesn't matter. What's happening is that people are talking about it, and that drives the market more than things actually happening. And of course, what you want to call geopolitical stuff, with China possibly changing its position in the crypto world by allowing its citizens to trade in it and trade by doing that by creating pairs, not on USDT or Euro or paired with Bitcoin, but paired with the Chinese currency, and that would give China a nice little thumb on people because they can devalue or revalue their currency, which they do frequently. So Just a little bit of the news. I got a little deep into it today. Took a little bit longer time, but those are
I like it.
But
that's my type of style.
Three big areas of the world that will affect the markets.
Yes. Well, Tom, I got in on this copper trade here. I'm happy about it. It's shooting off, first target hit, and it is just singing down. This is not actually showing what's actually happening here, but if you look at copper today, it is just, look at this. Oh my goodness. Copper hit, $5, $5.30 a few months ago.
Yep.
And now we're watching it come back down here, dude. And
are you telling me, Pedro, you took a short position?
I did take a short position. Remember, did we ever find out how we could actually trade in crypto the commodities?
Oh no, I have that on my list of things to do.
Yeah. Well, while you're on vacation, chilling at the beach, maybe pull out that phone and just seeing where we could actually use crypto so people could kind of take part in some of the commodity trades. And like, this was a good trade. This was a good trade. I dropped my...
Now, on that chart, Pedro, forget about the macroeconomic look at things. China finding some mountaintop copper mine. Quite suspicious in the timing of their announcement, I might add. Right. Forget that, but just looking at this chart here, just to help me and everyone else along with what's your indicator there that this current period that you're in was going to be a big red candle to take the short trade? What was before the candle happened? What was telling you, this is going to go down?
Yeah, so it's actually a couple things. Two primary things that was really important for me is the fact that we were selling off below the 8-period moving average, as you can see right here. And there's really no real support. Like even though these have demand wicks, you can see they've been traded through. So that's why it's been traded through quite a bit. So it's most likely going to come down below these levels. There's no real strong moving average as well, so you can see everything just kind of going sideways. And more importantly for me, you see how this area here where we topped off right here, this is what you call an abandoned baby. It's again, these are
the old abandoned baby day.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they call it. It's a candle setup. And so the fact that we started selling off from here on this area, we saw that's why I was looking for it to go down. And so that's why I went short. The open for copper starts at 510. So we're watching it come down here. Let's go. Anyways, so
Pedro making the money today.
Here. Well, so we can see here real quick. I love these type of plays because they're kind of a simple play. And I hate to use the word simple because there is no such thing as simple in trading. It's just that over years, I have just been able to now look at certain things and go, okay, this is a probability of the ability that it will move. So more probability saying if this is going to go down than it to go up. And it was pretty just kind of blatant sometimes what they wanted to do. But that, again, that's sometimes it's like maybe 10% out of the whole entire time of the market. So it comes it's not as often as you would, it's not often that this actually happens. So, and obviously there was a bit of spoofing happening here. There's some fighting going on between China needing copper and their traders over in Hong Kong, and what they're doing there. Obviously, up here was not a good period for China for their building and for a lot of the stuff they have going over in China mainland. So they need copper to come down. That's what they need, and so they're pushing it down. But how long will it? How long is it going to? Because here's the thing, as you can see, right? The world, there's this geopolitical stuff, and this is almost how wars are fought now from a financial standpoint, right?
Like, yeah, no kidding.
Like, all right, we're gonna raise tariffs. Well, fine, then we'll raise commodities. Well, fine, then we'll raise rare earth materials, right? Well, fine, then we'll do. It's just like this juxtaposed jockeying between goods and services that are within actual nations, or not nations, but or not goods and services, but what's the word I want to use? It's slipping my mind. I didn't take the methylene blue this morning. I want to see how I would do. I did. I definitely have to admit I'm much quicker in relationship to my thinking, and I mess with, like I said, I do the methylene blue, and I mix it with creatine, and to really get the blood flowing, getting it going, I then put beet juice or beet powder in that whole entire mix, and it's just like a supercharge. It's like red, white,
there's a song in there, Pedro. You know the old Schoolhouse Rock song, Conjunction Junction, what's your function? I've got one brewing in my head for potions. What's your potion? I've got one brewing. Lightening up a little bit, Pedro. I want to welcome a viewer from Rumble, Revium. Welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. At the beginning of the show, he or she commented about the music being loud. It was just the intro music, and so sorry about that. I hope you're still watching. If you're watching, drop a comment. Let us know how you enjoy our show, and thanks for being a new viewer. Really appreciate it. Anyone else out there watching, if you're watching live, drop us a comment. Let us know you're here. We're trying a new time, so our regular audience isn't here. And if you're watching this on the replay, since this is a market open type thing, I'll only leave this up for a day or two. But drop a comment in the bottom if you have a question about the markets or the content we're talking about, and Pedro and I will get back to you with an answer. I do pay attention to the comments, and I try to answer every one. And then there's this guy here just online going, whoop, whoop. Oh, I guess that would be me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing, as I call it, let me see. I have a graphic for this one.
Quick question. Are we having any guests on in the morning? I really like this morning thing, so we can get it done.
Good point. Tomorrow we're having a Pixie on from Ladies of Solana. She's going to come on. She's got a new streaming setup. She's previously appeared on our show. Audio only. I think she was in the process of moving and setting up a new streaming location. So I think she'll be here with us on camera, talking about a couple of projects she's involved with, and also asking questions about how she can learn and take that knowledge back to her groups too. But what we were talking about Wednesday, Bitcoin Bell. And even though Pedro and I are talking more about many markets now, and the reason is, as I've said before, is because Bitcoin has been incorporated, into all the other institutional trading tools. It's not just out there by itself. So we're going to talk about all the other things that similar day traders like Pedro, and now I'm getting sucked into looking at back in the markets that I used to participate in the copper market. I used to run orders over to the copper traders over in when I worked for EF Hutton a long time ago, and we think it'll drive a larger day trading audience here. There's a bunch of market open shows out there. I don't know if Pedro and I are going to continue on this time frame or not, but this week we'll be doing it, and maybe a little bit next week too, before I get back to the normal studio type stuff. And so we'll be covering more things. So if you have a friend that's a day trader, send it to him, and so he can come in and comment and either say, you guys are great, or you guys suck and this is why. And so that gets us to be better and more views.
As Tom Bilu says, just don't give me you suck. Give me an example of why you suck. Right?
I know. I saw someone else say that too. Where was it? He's like,
it was Tom Bilu.
No, I don't watch him just because it's just not high on the list. But I saw someone else. They put two comments from up their comment section. One says, you're terrible. And one said, you suck. You got that all wrong, and explained it. And he goes, here's a good comment or a bad comment. You suck. Okay, I suck at what? And then here's another one. You're terrible, and here's why. And he said, you know what? I agreed with them. I did get that wrong. So you can feel free to tell us we suck if you tell us why.
Yeah, just give me the why. I can't handle when you just say you suck. Then I'm like, well, your mama too. So, but if you say you suck because of X, Y, Z, I'm like, actually, or nah, dude, now you reveal your stupidity. But then, so it's like, it's like, what's funny is there's this, there's that old comment of, don't try to stop two stupid people arguing, because then you become the third. It's
I've never heard that, but that's awesome, Pedro.
You've never heard that?
No.
Oh, dude, I remember I got that. I think it was I don't know if it was my foster father or
right,
I don't know where I got that from. I don't know who it was. But it was, I'm trying to remember who I have to remember. Anyways, by the way, Argentina has an estimated population of 45,800,000. It's almost 46 million. And then we have El Salvador's population, roughly around 6,300,065. So again,
I guessed correctly. It's very close.
Yeah, almost very close. Very good, man. That was solid. Like the density, and so it's going to be really interesting to see if they can really get that trading, or get some good trading going on. Because if you can see that, man, you could really then start to see almost the rest of South America start to see a build up, right? That's really what they need, is a economy that can really, really become strong, and you start to have real job growth and real trade going on between the two. And then you start to bring in other nations, and before you know it, you got a South America that is kick butt, like all, and all of a sudden we want to go down and vacation down in South America. And that's the other part, is it's going to take away the ability for a lot of the gangs out there, and
because there's jobs
out there. Yeah, there's jobs. There's way to make money, and and that will just revolutionize.
Well, if you recall, Pedro, I don't know if you've seen the documentaries. I'm sure you have, of the tour of the prisons in El Salvador, where they took all these gang members and put them in there, and they didn't just put them in there like we do in the U.S. and say go F off. They put them to work and training, and they're learning to sew. They're learning to do all kinds of things.
Oh, it's slave labor. It is legitimately slave labor. Like it.
Right, but here's the key. As Bukele was almost I don't know what he predicted the future. He said, we want these people to be able to have jobs. But so all these guys get out of prison, they can sew, but if there's no companies hiring people to sew, they just go back to gangbanging. Now, with the tall tariff talk on China, the Chinese are like, oh, what are you guys going to do? And they put out memes of big fat white people from Missouri trying to sew, and say and then they showed the Chinese factory with 8 million people. So which one do you think is more efficient? Obviously the Chinese one, but I didn't particularly like being made fun of. But Bukele now has an inexpensive workforce. And I don't mean slave, I mean when they get released and they have a skill. And we need a North American place that can rapidly have people that can make clothing, can make shoes, all this type of stuff. He is set up in the catbird seat. He's got the labor force, and he's got the investment, the eyeball on investments in his country. And one of two things is going to happen. El Salvador is going to blow it somehow and just crash, and there's going to be a revolution, and gangbangers can end up running the country. Or they're going to be this little mini powerhouse and regional manufacturing center that has a free trade agreement with the U.S. And all this stuff that's being made in Vietnam and in China and all that type of stuff comes west. Go west, young man.
Well, and I think you add an additional part here, is that if we can have a strong manufacturing system down south, right, and we see them get strong and they're more democratic, it really takes the pressure off of China's need to always having to be more of a productive manufacturing company, and get really kind of more into the services. Again, granted, they're going to have a restructuring, but the reality is we're watching a lot of their nation die off without people having business. So I mean, they're going to go from a 1.3 billion population down to around 700 million. And so over the next, 20 years, so you're talking, there needs to be, there needs to be some real stuff. Now, granted, that's if we don't see huge production situation happen with robots and worker
Right.
robots.
Well,
But
also wouldn't put it past China to start, human being factories.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
they got whole villages of women not doing anything. And
Well, they are doing some, they're
right, yeah.
out there.
Do your patriotic duty and get pregnant.
Yeah, like that. That's the whole entire point, is they want to get people to be mothers and have babies. And so, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's what America needs. We need more mamas, more mamas and more daddies to be good dads and be good moms. If we want to see a real depression in the population in the prisons, then you want to see good moms and good dads kick in and really start loving their kids and being there for them. And all of a sudden they become really strong and socially independent and productive. So, that's, it's summertime and I'm going to be leaving for a week to, to take care of some dope kids who need help. So I'm going to be posting. I'm looking to raise money for a camp that is dear to my heart, absolutely dear to my heart, and I'm going to ask our audience to really kind of see if you guys can actually throw some money that way, crypto wise, or just regular fiat. We're trying to raise quite a bit of cash, and because we want to give some foster kids a dope week. So, anyways, yeah, I didn't talk to Tom about that yet. Sorry.
Sorry.
I probably should have done that. That was just kind of off.
Pedro, I'm used to shilling of all types of stuff. It just goes in and processes and.
Yeah, I probably should. I wasn't even going to do that until I just started talking about it. So, anyways, it is coming to an end of our show here, and thank you so much, guys, for coming in today. Really appreciate you. This is the market open, pre-market stuff, and let's get ready to rumble.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be here. We'll be here tomorrow, and likely Friday morning as well. On the market on the Bitcoin Bell, even though it's I got to come up with a better name to be more broadly focused on it. But we're watching Bitcoin take a little bit of a morning dumperini based on the numbers coming out. Get ready for the whipsaw effect. It's going to flip back up as they clear out the longs and stop them out.
I want to ask you a quick question, maybe even for tomorrow. What's happening in Australia in relationship to what's with crypto? We don't need to go into it now, but I would love to know also what's happening in Australia, because it's like the forgotten continent that nobody really talks about.
Australia is suffering from a political ineptitude right now, and to be honest, they have been for the past couple of governments, and there's no better way to explain it other than they've been cycling through populist people. Here's the deal in Australia. People have to vote in Australia. You're required to vote. And you think that's a good idea. Everyone should vote. And they get 90% turnout for voting. And people are like, wow, look at that. That's a great thing. Not always a great thing. They're very susceptible to populist movements and being the people that usually are not engaged, being easily swayed by media or certain campaigns of money, as they say. And so they've had a succession of pretty lousy governments in that can get things done. I'm not talking about your political side versus your political side. I'm talking about getting shit done. And they've done a lot of stuff that's feel-good stuff, a lot of woke stuff, a lot of gun restrictions, like all these things that doesn't really do anything at all for their economy. And I had a note up here about